Good morning, dear Sangha. Today is August the 13th of the year 2003, and we are in our retreat at Stone Hill College. It's very important that the young people know that the Buddha is not a god. The Buddha is a human being like all of us. He had suffered, and that is why before he was determined to practice in order to transform the suffering in him, and he was able to get enlightenment, to arrive at a state of high understanding and compassion, and he could help his family, his friends, and many other people. It's very important to remember that the Buddha is a human being like all of us. It's best to consider him as a teacher, a big brother. And the word Buddha means the person who is awake, mindful, full of understanding, and full of compassion. In fact, the word Bud means to know, to understand, to wake up. And Buddha means the person who knows, who understands, who is awake. The good thing is that in every one of us, there is a seed of understanding, there is a seed of awakening, there is a seed of compassion. And every one of us can become a Buddha. Whether we are a man or a woman, and there may be very young Buddhas. In the tradition of Buddhism, we speak of Mahasattvas. Maha means great. Sattva means living beings. Mahasattva means great man, great woman. And there are those of us in this Sangha who are great men or great women. They are Mahasattvas. Can someone come up and write the word Mahasattva? Thầy will do it by himself. Not very clear. So Maha means great, and Sattva means being great being. It's very easy to write it in Chinese. And then there is another Sanskrit word I'd like you to learn this morning. That is the word Bodhisattva. And you know already the word Sattva means a being. And Bodhi means awakening. A person of awakening, a person who has the element of awakening, enlightenment within himself or herself is called a bodhisattva. A bodhisattva is someone who has a lot of understanding within herself, within himself. And that is why that person has a lot of compassion, a lot of love. And the presence of such a person in our midst is a wonderful thing. Because by living his life, by living her life, they show us the path of understanding and love that can bring us happiness, reconciliation, and peace. You don't have to look for bodhisattvas in the cloud. They are very close to us, around us. When you see a person who is full of understanding, who is not narrow-minded, who has the capacity to understand and to love, to be compassionate, you can call him a bodhisattva. You don't exaggerate at all, because that person has the element of understanding and compassion in herself, in himself, and he deserves to be called a bodhisattva, a person of enlightenment. And when the degree of understanding and love come up very high, he becomes a great bodhisattva. Not only a bodhisattva, but a great bodhisattva. It's a Maha Bodhisattva. Maha means big, great. When enlightenment becomes a great enlightenment, when Bodhi become Maha Bodhi, and then the person become Maha Bodhisattva. And we do need a number of Mahasattvas in our midst, in our world, in order for us to take refuge in, because with them we feel safe. Because these people know how to cultivate the energy of understanding, of love, of compassion within themselves. And the energy of understanding and compassion protect them and protect us at the same time. Everything such a person does, think, speak, will be full of understanding and compassion. And that will guarantee our safety, our happiness. One of the first enlightenment that we should get is happiness is not made of ingredients like power, wealth, sex. Because many of us believe that without a lot of power, without a lot of wealth, without a lot of fame, without a lot of sex, happiness cannot be possible. That's a pity, because still there are so many of us who believe like that. Fame, power, wealth, and sex. And those who are awakened, they don't believe it. They don't believe like that anymore. They no longer want to run into the direction of fame, wealth, power, and sex. Because they know that running into that direction, they will have to suffer a lot, and they will have to make other people suffer a lot. Those Mahasattvas, great beings, they know that if they have a lot of understanding and compassion in them, they will be happy. Because understanding and compassion are the two kinds of energies that protect us, make us feel safe all the time, make us loving, caring, and bring us happiness in every moment of our daily life. And this is what I learned when I was a young novice of 16-year-old. The first Buddhist scriptures that I learned as a novice at the age of 16 is the scriptures on the 8 realization of great beings. The 8 realizations, the 8 awakenings of great beings. When I was a novice of 16, that text, Buddhist text, was not available in Vietnamese. It was only available in Chinese, so I had to learn it in Chinese. There are 8 realizations. There are 8 enlightenment realized by great beings. Bát Đại Nhân Giác, 8 great being realizations. And I learned from that text, which is only 2 pages, said that happiness cannot be found in the direction of wealth, of fame, of sex, of power. Happiness should be found in great understanding and great love. And there are those of us who sit in this hall have seen that truth. And that is why we have taken the path of understanding and love as our path. We know that happiness is possible in the here and the now. We don't need more fame, more power, more money, and more sex in order to be happy. If we know how to dwell firmly in the present moment, if we are free enough to be fully present in the here and the now, and then we will be able to touch the many conditions of happiness that are already available around us and inside of us. And that is the Buddhist teaching called living happily right in the present moment. Happiness is possible in the here and the now. That's what the Buddha said. You don't need more conditions to be happiness. If we are given a piece of paper and a pencil, and if we are asked to write down the conditions of happiness that we already have in this very moment, that could be a very nice exercise, a nice practice. We may put down the conditions of happiness that we already have. Explain one condition. Like, I'm still alive. Like, my mother is still alive with me. My father is still alive with me. We have a house to live in. We have everything to eat, something to eat every day. I have eyes in good conditions. Every time I open my eyes, I can see many wonderful things, like the blue sky, the beautiful mountains, the blooming flowers. I have heart that function normally. It does not give me any trouble. I have a liver that functions normally. I don't need a liver transplantation. I have 2 feet allowing me to step on, to walk on the beautiful planet Earth. I can breathe in and breathe out freely. And if you continue like that, I don't think that 2 pages are enough for you to jot down all the conditions of happiness that you have. And the more you touch these conditions of happiness, the happier you become very quickly. The French has a very wonderful song, but they don't sing it very often. The title of the song is, "What do you wait in order to be happy? Qu'est-ce qu'on attend pour être heureux?" What do we wait to be happy? You can be happy right here and right now. And this is also the teaching of the Buddha. The Sanskrit phrase is Drishta Dharma Sukha Vihara. It means living happily in this very moment. And with some kind of enlightenment, with a flash of enlightenment, you can be happy right away. That enlightenment is that you don't need fame, profit, power, sex to be happy. If you wake up to the wonders of life that are available in the here and the now, you can be happy right away. That is why we who practice according to the teaching of the Buddha, we don't want to wait until tomorrow in order to be happy. We want to be happy right here and right now. And with the practice of mindful breathing, mindful walking, we come home to the present moment and we touch the wonders of life, and we can taste, we can enjoy being alive and our happiness. We have many people practice mindfulness, but they don't know that they practice mindfulness. For instance, we organize a day called Mother's Day. What is the purpose of creating Mother's Day? In order to be reminded of the fact that you have a mother. And to have a mother still alive is a wonderful thing. But if you are too busy, you forget that condition of happiness that you do have. That is why the Mother Day is to remind you, to help you to be mindful that your mother is still around. And she's one of the basic conditions for your safety, for your happiness. And the practice is easy. You breathe in mindfully, you breathe out mindfully, and you go to your mother and you say, "Mother, I know you are still alive with me, and this makes me very happy." And this is a practice of mindfulness, of having a mother. And we have also a Father's Day. We have created many other kind of days, like Earth Day. And all these days are to help us to be mindful that there are many conditions of happiness that are there, and we should get in touch. We should try in order to maintain them, to preserve them. Otherwise, one day it will no longer be there, and happiness will become very difficult. In Plum Village, we have invented a day called 2 days day. Every day should be 2 days day. Every day we should be reminded that today is the most important day in my life. Every day is the most important day in my life. In today's day, you remind each other that living in the present moment, not to allow yourself to be caught in the worries about the future, in the regret about the past, is very important. So today's day help us to be free from the past, from the future, and help us to be fully present, fully alive in the here and the now. I will ask Sister Chân Đức, Annabelle Lady, to come up as the Queen of New England and make a solemn declaration. I declare today's day. And you who belong to another country or another state, you may like to come up and make the same declaration. And the young people are invited to come. I have prepared a crown for His Majesty, Her Majesty. I, the Queen of New England, it's not clear. Cái này là cái gì? Hai cái.
Noble Sangha, I solemnly declare that today is today's day.
You are invited, Your Majesty. The King of Massachusetts, the Queen of Rhode Island, please come. Đứng lên cao. I am the Queen of... Chọn rồi.
What? I miss Mommy.
I am the King of New Hampshire.
Today's a day today. I'm the King of Texas, and I declare today is day.
I am the queen of.
I'm the queen of Canton, and I declare that today's day is today's day. I am the king of Florida.
Florida.
And I declare that today's day is today's day. I am the queen of New York, and I declare that today is today's day.
Wonderful.
I am the queen of New Hampshire, and I declare today's day. I am the king of California, and I declare that today is today's day.
I am the king of Vermont, and I declare that today is today's day.
I am the second royal person from New York, and I solemnly declare that today is today's day.
I am the king of Ontario, and I declare today is today's day.
Ontario.
I'm the queen of New York, and I declare today's day. I am from Rhode Island, and I am the queen of Rhode Island, and I declare today's date is today's date. Today's day.
The queen of what?
And I am the king of... Where are you from?
Africa. I'm the queen of Vermont, and I declare today's day.
I am the third royal person in New York. I declare today is today's day.
I'm the fourth royal person from New York, and I declare today's day.
I am the queen of Minnesota, and I declare today is today's day.
I'm the fifth royal person of New York, and I declare today is today's day. I am the sixth royal person from New York, and I declare today is today's day.
It's time for you to go out and play. While we drive our car or walk to the subway station, we can always practice mindful breathing. When we practice mindful breathing, we make us available to ourselves. We stay with us in order to keep being alive, to get in touch with the wonders of life, for our nourishment and healing. And we can help our children and train their children to do the same. If we know how to do it, and then our children will learn from us. If we are present for us, if we are there for us, then we will be able to handle the feelings and the emotions that arise in us. It's very important. We suffer a lot because we don't know how to handle and to take care of our feelings and our emotions. Our feelings and our emotions may come from our body or from our mind. There are feelings and emotions deeply rooted in our body. There are those who are deeply rooted in our consciousness. And every time they manifest, we should be there in order to recognize them, embrace them, and handle them in such a way that will not do harm to us and will not make the people around us suffer. In school, our children do not learn these things. And even their teachers, many of them do not know how to handle their own feelings and emotions. I always think of school as our second chance. If a young person comes from a broken family, he or she will bring her own suffering and suffering to school. And if his teacher and her teacher also has come from a broken family, and then the teacher also bring his suffering to the classroom, and they will not be able to make each other happy, they will make each other suffer. I always wish to organize retreats for school teachers and their students, so that we are able to transform school into a kind of family where the practice of deep listening, the practice of using loving speech could be taken up, so that communication can be possible between teachers and students. They can help each other heal, and they can bring their healing back to their own family. I always look at a practice center as a school or a family. Because there are those of us who come to a practice center from a broken family. But there are those of us who are happy in the practice center. And you can offer ourselves to help those who are deeply wounded in their school, in their families. We should be able to lend our energy of mindfulness and concentration to help recognize and embrace the suffering of the newly arrived person. Because when you first come to a practice center, you do not have enough the energy of mindfulness and concentration in order to handle your own feelings and emotions. You need the collective energy of mindfulness and concentration of the Sangha to help embrace your pain, your sorrow. The practice of mindful breathing is very important. It's very useful for us to be there for our feelings and emotions. Usually, we don't want unpleasant feelings. Usually, we are afraid of our strong emotions. Every time we think of them, we are not comfortable. We would like to cover them up with consumption, whether it is a conversation, television, or book, or eating. We try to cover up. We don't want these feelings and emotions to come up to us, always trying to run away from them. And this is not the best thing to do. With the energy of mindfulness and concentration, and with the support of the Sangha, we should be able to be there for our emotions and for our feelings. And the Buddha proposed very, very concrete and simple methods for us to do so. In the Sutra on Mindful Breathing, the first exercise he proposes, breathing in, I know this is my in-breath. Breathing out, I know this is my out-breath. Just identify your in-breath as your in-breath, your out-breath as your out-breath. It's like recognizing a friend of yours. In fact, we breathe in and out a lot of times every day, but we don't recognize our in-breath as they arise. We don't recognize our out-breath as it arises. So bringing our attention to our in-breath and out-breath is the first attempt to go home to ourselves. And this does not need to be a difficult practice. This can be a very pleasant practice. Your in-breath should become your friend. Breathing in, I'm aware of my in-breath. I smile to my in-breath. I greet my in-breath. Breathing out, I'm aware of my out-breath. And we just use the word in to identify our in-breath, and the word out to identify our out-breath. What happens is that we can stop our thinking because we enjoy now recognizing the in-breath as the in-breath and the out-breath as out-breath, as the out-breath. It's like a god posted at the entrance of a palace. He would recognize who is that person going in the gate. Every time there is one person going in, he recognizes him as someone who is going in. Here you recognize that, well, the air is going in. That is your in-breath. There's not much to do, just to be there and to recognize. Here there is an in-breath. And then the guard will be able to recognize the person who is going out from the gate. We do the same, breathing out, recognize that there is an out-breath going on. It can be pleasant. It's not hard work. And it doesn't need to make any effort. Just become aware that you are breathing in and breathing out. And you can do better. You can smile to your in-breath. You can smile to your out-breath as a dear friend. This is the first exercise. It's very simple, but effect can be very deep. While you enjoy recognizing your in-breath and out-breath, you stop all your thinking. And stopping thinking is a great achievement. You are not trying to stop the thinking, but the thinking stops. That's because you enjoy your in-breath and your out-breath. And breathing in is something enjoyable. Your nose is not stuck. And you can breathe freely. The air is fresh. So it is enjoyable to breathe in freely and to breathe out freely, especially when the window is open, especially when you are walking outside. And that can be very healing, especially when you combine your in-breath with your step. The second exercise the Buddha proposed is that breathing in, I'm aware of the whole length of my in-breath. Breathing out, I am aware of the whole length of my out-breath. It means your mindfulness stay with you all the way through the in-breath. Suppose my in-breath is long, this much, and this is the beginning of my in-breath. This is the end of my in-breath. And suppose this finger is my mindfulness. I practice breathing in, and now I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Your mind stay with your in-breath all the time. Your mind stay with your out-breath for the whole length of the out-breath. And there's not a moment when the finger takes off from the pen. So you are with your in-breath for the whole length of it. That is what we call the practice of following your breath. Tùy tức means to follow your breath. The first exercise is to identify your breath as in or out. The second is to follow your in-breath all the way through. And this practice can be very pleasant also. And it is enjoyable. You breathe, you feel alive. You feel fully present. The word practice is a little bit too heavy. It involves the idea that you have to try. But in fact, you don't have to make any effort. Suppose you are standing there with a group of people contemplating a beautiful sunset. It's so beautiful. It's splendid, the beautiful sunset. Do you think that you have to make a special effort in order to enjoy the sunset? No. You don't have to make any special effort. Just enjoy the sunset. But if your mind is caught in your projects, in your worries, and then the sunset is not for you, while other people are enjoying deeply the sunset, your mind is taken away by your projects, your worries, your fear. So to focus your attention on the sunset, you are free from your projects, from your fear. And you don't have to fight, you don't have to do anything at all to make any effort. If you do not have to make any special effort to enjoy the beautiful sunset, and then we don't have to make any special effort to enjoy our in-breath and out-breath. Because to breathe in and out is something very beautiful, very wonderful. Imagine a dead body lying there. No matter what we try to do, the dead body cannot breathe in and out anymore. And we don't have to make any effort. We breathe in and we breathe out naturally. So breathing in, I know I am breathing in, does not mean that I am going to breathe in as something I should do. No. You breathe in and out anyway, whether you want or not. The practice is to become aware that this is my breathing in. It is enjoyable. This is my breathing out. It is enjoyable. The difference lies in fact that mindfulness is present or not. And mindfulness make it pleasant, make it beautiful. And what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the energy of the Buddha. The Buddha is someone who lives mindfully every moment of her daily life. And that does not involve fighting or making efforts, just natural. And as you continue for 2 or 3 minutes, just enjoying your in-breath and out-breath, whether you are in a lying position or sitting position, something wonderful happens. The quality of your in-breath and out-breath will increase. You don't try to do anything. But if you enjoy breathing in and out like that, and then a few minutes later, your in-breath and out-breath become more gentle, more peaceful, deeper, and bringing you more delight. And that comes by itself. You don't have to intervene. Whether your in-breath are short or long, allow it to be short or long. Don't try to make it longer or shorter. Just become aware of it. It's like a flower is blooming, blooming. You just turn on the light so that you can see the flower. The light is embracing the flower. The light does not try to intervene and push the flower. And yet with the presence of mindfulness, everything will change in the good direction. It's like in the morning, the flowers are not open yet. But the sun continues to send its light. And the sunlight continue to shine, to embrace the flowers. And a few hours ago, the flower will open. because flowers are sensitive to the sunshine. Any vegetation would be sensible to the sunshine. Any mental formation, any feeling or emotion would be sensible to mindfulness. Our in-breath and out-breath are also sensitive to the mindfulness. Mindfulness is a kind of energy that is equivalent to the energy of the sunshine. It will make things improve the quality of things in the good directions. And that is why breathing mindfully in and out, a few minutes later, you notice that the quality of your breathing has increased. Your in-breath has become deeper. Your out-breath has become more gentle. And the joy, the pleasant feeling in you increases. That is for your nourishment and for your healing. Not to say that during the time of breathing in and out and to enjoy them well, all your thinking stop altogether. That allowed elements of healing and transformation to take place. And the most essential thing to remember is that during the time you practice mindful breathing, you should not fight. It's not a matter of fighting. It's a matter of allowing you to enjoy your in-breath and out-breath. This is about the first and the second exercise proposed by the Buddha. And these two exercises increase the quality of your in-breath and out-breath. There is more peace, more harmony within your breath. And when there is more peace and harmony in your breath, your body and your mind will profit from it. Because in the practice of meditation, there are three elements altogether: body, mind, and breath. And anything good happening to one of the three elements will have an effect on the two others. Now, since you have begun with your mindful breathing, and since your mindful breathing has improved, the quality of your breathing has improved, and then the element of harmony and peace will begin to penetrate into your body and your mind. And the third exercise proposed by the Buddha is breathing in, I'm aware of my body. Breathing out, I allow my body to relax. in the first exercise, in the first two exercises, the energy of mindfulness embraces our in-breath and out-breath. So our breathing becomes conscious breathing or mindful breathing. Now when you come to the third and the fourth exercises, mindful breathing becomes the energy and embracing the body. Mindful breathing means mindfulness and breath. Mindfulness of breathing generates the energy of mindfulness. And with that energy, you recognize your body. And you tenderly embrace it. And allow it to relax. If we don't know how to handle, to embrace our body, and then later on, we cannot embrace our feelings and our emotions. We have to learn how to embrace our body and to bring relaxation to our body first. Whether you are in a lying position or sitting position, you can practice the third and the fourth exercises. And these two exercises are to recognize the presence of the body and to allow it to relax. There may be a lot of suffering, tension, pressure in the body, accumulated for a long time. Now it is time to go home to our body and tenderly embrace it and help the body to just relax. This is the art of resting. In modern researches, scientists have found out that in a state of tension, stress, the healing is difficult for the healing to take place. And that is why to allow our body to release the tension, the stress, is the most fundamental conditions for healing. And the doctors now, the physicians now are aware of that. When we are able to release the tension in our body, elements, conditions of healings begin to appear in our body. This is extremely important, and the Buddha was very aware of it. We have worked our body too hard. We have accumulated a lot of tension, a lot of conflict in our body, in every cell of our body. And that is why it's very important to go home to our body and to take care of it. And the Buddha did propose many ways to help us release the tensions in every muscle, in every cell of our body. One of the examples is found in a text, in a sutra called The Contemplation of the Body in the Body. He said, suppose a farmer went up to the cellar and brought down a bag of seeds. He opened one end of the bag and allowed all the seeds in the bag to flow freely on the floor. And with eyes is still in good condition, he recognized this is kidney beans. This is mung beans. This is red beans. This is corns, and so on. So a practitioner, the Buddha said, does exactly like that. In a lying position or sitting position, he becomes aware of every part of his body. Breathing in, I am aware of my eyes. Breathing out, I smile to my eyes. Breathing in, I am aware of my nose. Breathing out, I smile to my nose. Breathing in, I am aware of my brain. Breathing out, I smile to my brain. Always using the energy of mindfulness of breathing to recognize and embrace the part of the body that you touch. And you go from the top of your head to the sole of your feet. So this exercise proposed by the Buddha is to scan your body with the beam of mindfulness. And he suggested that there are 36 parts of the human body, and you have to pass in review to recognize all these 36 parts in the body and recognize every part with a lot of tenderness and smile to it so that that part of the body can release the tension. We know that in modern hospitals we have scanners using X-ray and computer systems in order to help us to see each organ in our body. This is exactly the same. We use the ray of mindfulness to recognize, embrace, smile to it, and help it to release the tension. And if there is a zone in your body that has a lot of tension, we should stay longer with it. Suppose when you come to our liver and feel that our liver suffers quite a lot, we have to stay with our liver longer. Breathing in, I'm aware of my liver. Breathing out, I smile to my liver. And that can bring not only the release of the tension, but also enlightenment. You know that you have not been very kind to your liver by your way of eating, your way of drinking. You have treated one of the basic conditions of your happiness not kindly. Time to change the way. Time to learn how to take good care of your liver. When you come to your heart, you practice the same. Breathing in, I am aware of my heart. It's clearly that mindfulness, embracing heart, embracing body. Breathing out, I smile to my heart. Your heart will feel comfortable with that. Because you have been so busy, you have paid attention to everything else. Job, house, salary, tax, telephone, everything, but not your heart. You have not paid any attention to your heart. And you have even given your heart a lot of hardship. You have smoked, you have drunk alcohol, you have stayed up very late, you have allowed strong emotions to stay and to cause damage. Your heart is one of the basic conditions for your well-being. It works non-stop all day and all night. And yet you have not paid any attention to your heart. So practicing this exercise proposed by the Buddha maybe you have the first time to recognize your heart as a basic condition for your well-being. You embrace it tenderly with the energy of mindfulness. You smile to it with friendship, with compassion. And you know what you should do, what you should not do in order to support your heart, so that your heart can support you. So that kind of awareness is already an enlightenment. You know to refrain from smoking, from drinking alcohol, from staying up too late in the night. Every time you strike a match and light a cigarette, you commit an unfriendly act toward your heart. And if you know, if you are able to embrace your heart mindfully, tenderly, you'll stop doing that. And scanning your body with a beam of mindfulness is what the Buddha proposed to us to do every day. And if we just do that, we'll be free from stress, we're free from tension. We allow our body to heal, to restore itself. Because our body has a natural capacity to heal. In the old time, we did not worry as much as we do now. There was time for us to rest. And resting is the best way to restore our well-being, to heal our body. The animals in the forest, every time they get wounded, they know exactly what to do. They find a place quiet, safe, and they just lay down. They don't think of eating. They don't think of running after another animal. And that is about everything the animal can do in order to be healed. And the animal will stand up only when the wound is no longer there. It does not need a lot of medicine. It does not have to go to the pharmacy or to the doctor. We have lost our capacity to rest. We don't allow our body to rest. We have accumulated a lot of stress, a lot of tension in our body. And that prevents the body to heal itself. So the question is whether we authorize our body to heal. We allow our body to relax. The way we live our life, our daily life, is not in that direction. We have lost our capacity to rest. Even if we have a vacation, we don't know how to handle our vacation. And we may come home more tired after the vacation. And that is why the third and the fourth exercise proposed by the Buddha is very important for the healing of our body. And then with the fifth exercise of mindful breathing, we begin to pay attention to our feelings and emotions. Always with the practice of mindful breathing, we generate the energy of mindfulness in order to recognize the feeling, the emotion that is there. Dear emotion, dear feeling, I'm here for you. I take good care of you. You are not trying to run away from your feeling, your emotions. You are not trying to fight your emotions. That's That's not what the Buddha recommended. He advised us to be there for our feelings, for our emotions, learning how to recognize them, to smile to them, to embrace them tenderly with the energy of mindfulness. And you can help release the intensity of the emotion, of the feelings. Exactly like you have helped release the intensity of the stress in your body. So the Buddha goes very scientifically. First with your breath, and second with your body, and third with your feelings and emotions. Let us stand up and enjoy a few mindful movements before I continue. I just wrote down on the board the first 8 exercises proposed by the Buddha. There are another 8. But this is the first 8 are to deal with our body and our feelings. And the next 8 will deal with our perceptions and other mental formations. It's very interesting to notice that the Buddha is aware that nourishment should go together with healing. And nourishment is part of healing. And that is why when we come to the exercise number 5, the Buddha proposes us to produce a feeling of joy. How to produce a feeling of joy? And how to produce a feeling of happiness? This morning we have heard that happiness cannot be found in the direction of fame and power and wealth and sex. If it cannot be found in that direction, in what direction should it be found? Well, the answer is in the present moment. The definition of joy in Buddhism is that we are aware that conditions of happiness are already there, available. And in the teaching of the Buddha, there's still some excitement that can be found in joy. But in true happiness, the excitement has died down in order for the happiness to be really deep. Because as far as excitement is still there, we are not very peaceful. We are excited. That is why happiness cannot be deep. In Chinese, there is the word "he," which means joy, and "lac" means happiness. And in the Buddhist literature, we encounter that very often that kind of definition. Suppose someone who walk in a desert for many days without having something to drink, and suddenly he recognizes there is in front of him these are oases. There is a little lake full of water in it. So the recognition that there is water, that there is a source of water there for you to drink, bring joy. You have not actually drunk the water and taste the water, but you know that water is there. And in the Buddhist literature, we encounter that very often that kind of definition. Suppose someone who walk in a desert for many days without having something to drink, bring joy. You have not actually drunk the water and taste the water, but you know that water is there. And when you arrive at the lake, at the spring, you kneel down and you cup the water and you drink, and that is happiness. In that moment of happiness, there is no longer excitement, just pure happiness. And in the tradition of Buddhism, we learn to bring the feeling of joy and happiness by the way of mindfulness, by the way of letting go, by the way of concentration. It's wonderful. We have to learn. We don't need to go to the market to buy anything at all. Just practice mindfulness, and the feeling of joy, of happiness become a reality. Joy and happiness are born from three sources. The first source is letting go. Yet you can hear me okay? Yes. Leaving behind, let it go, abandon it, release it is one condition for joy and happiness. And this is joy, this is happiness. Joy and happiness born from leaving behind. It's a wonderful practice. Because usually we believe that these things are very crucial, very, very necessary for our happiness. And we may not know that these things may be the very obstacles for your happiness. Suppose you live in a city like busy city like Paris, or Los Angeles, or New York, and there's a lot of noises and smells, and you would like to go to the countryside, go to the mountain or to the beach, where there is fresh air, clean air, and your eyes can meet with the sky, the hills, the trees, and so on. So it takes you about half an hour or more to leave the city behind. And when the city is left behind, you begin to experience wonderful things. The hills, the trees, the fresh breeze. And you begin to smile and to enjoy your in breath and out breath. That has been possible because you have been able to leave the city behind. If you cannot leave the city behind, you cannot experience that kind of joy and happiness. But that is only an example. Because there are many things you feel that you are attached to, that without them you get lost. You cannot be happy. But if we look deeply into reality, we may realize that it may be that these things are obstacles for your true happiness. And letting them go, leave them behind, happiness naturally come and joy naturally come. This is a story of the Buddha with a farmer. The Buddha who was sitting in the vicinity of Vaishali with a number of monks. They just finished their mindful lunch, the only meal in the day, and they was about to start a Dharma discussion. And then a farmer came, and he looked lost. He said, "Monks, did you see my cows going by this direction?" The Buddha said, "What cows?" And he said that, "Well, monks, I think I have to go and kill myself. I suffer so much. I have 12 cows, and I don't know why this morning all of them have run away. And I have also 2 acres of sesame seeds plants, but this year the insect ate them up. I don't have any means in order to survive. I think I'm going to die." The Buddha, out of compassion, said, "Dear friend, we have not seen your cows going by this way. You might have a chance looking for your cows in the other directions." And then after the farmer was gone, the Buddha turned to his monks, smiling, and said, "My dear friends, don't you know that you are the happiest people on earth? You don't have any cows to lose." Every one of us has a number of cows. We care very much for these cows, and we believe that they are absolutely essential for our well-being, for our happiness. But if we practice looking deeply, we may realize that because we are attached to these cows, that is why joy cannot come and happiness has been prevented to come to us. That cow may be your idea of happiness. You might have an idea of happiness of your own. Everyone does. I can be happy only if so and so. If I have this, if I can get rid of this, and you are caught in your idea. That is a big cow. So let us go home and look at that cow. The idea we have concerning the happiness of our life. And if you are able to release that cow, happiness might come just in 1 or 2 seconds. You might have an idea as how your country be safe. As how your country may become prosperous. And you might have adopted a kind of policy, a kind of ideology, which you believe to be the only way for your country to become a great nation. A kind of foreign policy, a kind of economic policy that you believe that the only way to lead your nation to a state of greatness and glory. And you and your friends might be caught in that idea for a long time, maybe 50 years, until you recognize that your commitment to that idea has caused a lot of suffering within the population, within the nation. And one morning you wake up and realize that if your nation has not been happy, if your people has suffered so much because you have been attached to that notion of happiness, for your country, and you are able to release that notion of happiness. Well, whether that is socialism, or communism, or capitalism, or any idea. Because every one of us, as individuals, we have our idea as how we can be happy. We are a community. We might be caught in an idea that how our community can be happy. We are a nation, and and we can be caught in an idea as how our country can be safe, can be happy. And our ideas by themselves are a kind of chaos that we are attached to. And the Buddha taught us a lot about this. You have to release your notions, your ideas. Happiness is possible only when you are free, when you have understanding and compassion. And not because you can control this, you can control that. There's a tradesman who went away for business, and during his absence, robbers came. They burned down the whole village, and they kidnapped his little boy. And when the tradesman came home, his house was burned. It was only a heap of ash. And close to that, the burned, charred body of a child. And he believed right away that his child is dead because of the fire. So in that state of suffering and confusion, he could not see things very clearly. He threw himself to the floor and he cried and he beat his chest. He pulled his hair and he said, it was because of me that my child had been killed in this accident. And after that he organized a cremation ceremony and recuperate all the ash. And since he loves his little boy so much, he put all the ash in a little bag that he carried with him all day and night. He cannot he cannot lay it down. And a few months later, the little boy managed to escape and went home. And this is a story told by the Buddha as an example to give a teaching about non-attachment to views. And the boy arrived at 2 o'clock in the morning and he knocked at the door. And the father was inside crying with his bag on his shoulder. And he said, "Who is that? Who is disturbing me at this time?" "It's me, Daddy." "It's impossible. My child is dead. I carry his ash. Who are you to come this time of the night to disturb me? Go away." And he persisted in his perception and refused to open the door. And finally the little boy had to go away. And the Buddha said something like this: sometimes you accept something as the truth. You are caught by it. Even if the truth comes to your door and knock, you refuse to open. So we have notions, we have ideas as how we can be safe, we can be happy. And it may be because that ideas, that notions that prevent us to be happy, to be safe. And that is why learning how to release your chaos, is very important. That cow might be an idea. That cow might be a diploma. That cow might be a position in society. That cow might be a person. And you think that without that, happiness is not possible. But if you are able to leave them behind and go as a free person, suddenly joy and happiness come to you from many directions. That is why the practice of releasing, of letting go, is a practice that brings joy and happiness. And the fifth exercise of mindful breathing helps us to do so. The second practice that can bring joy and happiness is the practice of mindfulness. Because mindfulness helps us to go home to the present moment and to recognize that conditions of happiness are already there. You don't need more conditions to be happy. You have everything in order to be happy, right here and right now. And that is why practicing mindfulness is to open the door for joy and happiness to come right away in the here and the now. You don't have to wait. And that is why the Buddha insists that if you practice according to the mindfulness, and then it is possible for you to be happy right here and right now. And then the other element is the element of concentration. When you live your life concentrated, you get deeper. Mindfulness helps you to recognize that your beloved one is still alive, very close to you. Concentration helps you to treasure her presence, his presence. Concentration helps you to understand more deeply. And that makes happiness very deep. Happiness may have several layers. And there is a true happiness with false happiness. Mindfulness and concentration help us to distinguish true happiness from the illusion of happiness, and help us to get deeper into that happiness, which has the power of nourishing and healing. And these three exercises, three energies, are recommended by the Buddha, so that in the fifth exercise and the sixth exercise, we can touch the joy and the happiness in the here and the now. The capacity of letting go, the capacity of being mindful, the capacity of being concentrated, these are two sources of energies that help us to make happiness and joy something actual, something real in this very moment. And that is for our transformation and healing. transformation and healing needs nourishment. And that is why the Buddha was so compassionate. He knows that all of us need some joy, some happiness in order to be able to go on. We have blocks of suffering to transform, and we need some nutriment. We need some nourishing elements. That is why the fifth and the sixth exercise are not exercise of auto-suggestion. You don't imagine that you are joyful. You don't imagine that you are happy. You actually allow joy and happiness to come by the practice of letting go, by the practice of concentration, by the practice of mindfulness. Then if you are able to do that, you are strong enough to confront, to embrace, to deal with the blocks of pain in you. And that is the object of the seventh and eighth. Recognizing the pain, the painful emotion, the painful feelings in you, and also to release the tension, the suffering in these feelings and emotions. We will speak about these exercises tomorrow.